Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Pushback with Chris Gergen. Well, tonight we've got a great show in store for you tonight. We've got Doug Ralstone, who is the Snohomish County party chairman, and they are doing some fantastic work up there. Not only up there in Snohomish County, but in several different counties across the state. They are doing a fantastic job of getting people involved, people just like you, ladies and gentlemen. We, the people, constitutional conservatives, are getting involved really at record numbers. We haven't really seen the sort of involvement by the folks that you know in past years as we're seeing now, and I think that is due in large part to several different factors, not the least of which is the undeniable encroachment of the government, the undeniable tyranny that is going on in many states across the United States, not just Washington state, but you see this in, New York, New Jersey, California, Oregon. You see this all over the country, and you see a vast migration out of those states to low tax states, to freedom-loving states, to states with some sort of common sense and economic plan, and people that states that respect the rights of its citizens. And so in Washington state, there's a big push to change the direction and change the complexion of what has traditionally been the Republican Party. And the party itself, I'm not here to kick the party. Every party has its problems. Every party has its challenges, but I believe that those things can be course corrected through involvement. And things got a little bit off the rails over the last, I would say 8 to 10 years, not just in Washington state, but in places like Oregon, places like California, and really all over, even red states. Things got a little bit off the rails. Even places like Texas. Things got a little bit scary there for a while, but now just normal people, non-political people, are starting to involve themselves in record numbers in the political process, and that is very good for our party. That is very good for our states and for our nation. And for too long, ladies and gentlemen, it is my contention that we have allowed the elite, we have allowed those people who say that, they know better, just let us handle it. Don't worry. We're here to help you. We've got your best interest at heart. We're going to represent your values. Just trust us. Trusting people has not really gotten us where we need to be. Trusting people has allowed the Constitution to be trampled upon, and now it is time. And now we have seen where more constitutional conservatives than ever are being not only running for public office, but are also being elected. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just, everybody wants to run for Congress, right? Everybody, because that's the sexy thing, right? People want to run for these high different offices. And maybe that isn't anything that you ever have any interest in. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are some other opportunities at the local level involved in the party, specifically being a PCO, a precinct committee officer, which is something that we've talked about on this show before. And Mr. Culp has also talked about it on his show as well. And tonight we wanted to discuss that. And so I'm going to bring in tonight Doug Ralstone, who is the Snohomish County chairman, and we're going to have a discussion tonight for you about PCOs, what it is, what it means, how to get involved, and we're going to talk about the Get Out the Vote effort that is going on, so you know a little bit about what's going on, so maybe if you have some interest, you can reach out to your party leaders and have a talk with them about how you can get involved. Doug, how are you this evening?
Hey, Chris, it's great to be with you. Great to be on a show like this, particularly something associated with Lauren Culp. So I'm really happy to be here.
Well, Doug, we really appreciate you, and we appreciate the work that you've done, not only for the Republican Party, but more important for conservative values, and for the number of years that you served in the United States Navy as an officer serving your nation. And we do we do thank you very much for your service, sir.
It was
Tonight,
a great honor to serve.
absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. There has been, we've discussed not only on this show, but also on Mr. Culp's show, we have discussed getting involved in the local party as a PCO. And we always get a lot of questions. What is it? What do they do? What's their responsibilities? Who do I call? Who do I talk to? These sorts of things. So if you could, for the folks, Chairman, if you could let's just start at the beginning. What is a PCO? What do they do, and why is a PCO an important part of the political process?
Well, PCO is a very critical part of the political process. In Snohomish County right now, the auditor's office is redrawing some PCO lines because typically a precinct has 1,000 or less registered voters in it. So Snohomish County, as of the 20th of April, will have 827 precincts that the county is divided into. And the precinct committee officer is the lowest level elected Republican official. And so in the even year primary elections, people file for and can run for PCO. There's a Democrat and Republican PCO in each precinct, and all of the precincts aren't filled. So a lot of people file and get elected automatically. Occasionally, you'll have somebody else there, but those people that get elected in that year, the even year elections in August, then in December they formed together. In Snohomish County, we had 211 people that were elected PCOs that formed, and they elected me the county chair, and they also elected their legislative district chairs. So it's only the PCOs that do that, and so after the election. As the chairman of the party, I'm able to appoint PCOs. Typically, if you wanted to be a PCO, Chris, you would apply. It would go through the legislative district chair, and they would vet you. I'm not sure. You might be a rhino. We might not want. At any rate, we vet you. The chair approves it, and then it comes up to me, and then I approve it. And so since that December election, we're now up to almost 270 PCOs in Snohomish County. And where they're coming from, a lot of them are cult people, which I'm really happy to see. And for those cult people that are listening tonight, the Snohomish County Republican Party didn't have a really good reputation as supporting Lauren Culp as well as they should have. And I want to repair that. My wife and I, a couple of weeks ago, hopped in the car, drove out to Republican, had lunch with Lauren. And so, we're reaching out. He's going to speak at our Central Committee meeting. The Central Committee meeting is a meeting of all the PCOs elected and appointed in the county, and that will be on the 24th of this month down at Roosters in Woodinville, and it's open to guests. So if you've got loyal Culp supporters out there, Lauren's going to speak. I just texted him earlier this morning, and he'll be there speaking for 20 minutes. So the whole gist of the party and the organizational level of the party is that basic ground roots precinct committee officer that owns his precinct or her precinct, and they know everything about it. They go out and canvass the neighborhoods. They find out what businesses are in there, what churches are in there, what schools are in there, and that way we can have a better understanding at the grassroots level. And so we're working that very hard this year. And one of the things we found is in past, we'd appoint PCOs and say, hey, go out and doorbell, go out and do this. So Bill Cooper and myself, mostly Bill Cooper, have developed a 4-hour precinct committee officer academy. And we're now training PCOs, even old timers that haven't been trained before, as to what they need to do, how to come up with a strategic plan for their precinct. And we're really organizing this. You could probably tell my background is I'm a systems analyst. So we're putting this all together, basic piece by piece. And boy, do we need people that supported Lauren Culp and people that are conservatives out there in Snohomish County and throughout the state. I know a lot of people watch this from all over the state, and every county chair needs you out there, needs you to become part of the process and help us move the party forward. if you don't like exactly where the party was, get involved now, and you could be in charge in a couple of years. I can't do this much longer, as you can tell by my age.
Well, Chairman, let me just interject here and bring some clarity for the folks at home on, from a candidate's perspective, why having a strong local party is important to candidates. So, and this isn't just statewide candidates. This is any candidate. If you're running for, county commission, you're running for mayor, you're running for, water board, dog catcher, doesn't make a difference. You've got precincts, ladies and gentlemen, that make up the area where you're going to be elected, where the voters are going to vote for you. And it is important to have strong PCOs at the ground level that do understand where the schools are, where the churches are, where the businesses are, who the people are in the community, where the areas that might be a little bit tougher, because there are blue areas of communities, there are red areas of communities. And so the PCOs, ladies and gentlemen, really understand their area. And so how that helps a candidate and people like me who work with candidates is that I can pick up the phone if I know that there is a certain area where my client or my candidate has to do really well. They've got to have good turnout. They've got to have good vote. We want to see if we can make some inroads there and maybe flip some blue areas over to red, or at least turn blue areas into purple. What I can do is I can pick up the phone, ladies and gentlemen, and I can call and I can speak to these people directly, and I can game plan with them on the most granular level possible, to where we can really get a good game and attack plan on how we're going to get into those parts of the community and talk to them about the value that our candidate brings to the table, regardless of what they're running for. Whether it's water board, whether it's and water board is important. Do you want the liberals telling you how to manage your water? Probably not, right? So I mean, a lot of these seats get looked over. The PCOs are important for school board races, mayoral races, county and city council races. They're important all the way up, not just up at the higher levels where you've got gubernatorial, congressional, senatorial, state ledge races. So it's very, very important. Have Mr. Culp did. Had a fantastic campaign at 2020, unlike anything that really Washington State had seen before it, at least in recent memory. And we have seen a big surge of support inside the party of Culp supporters joining the party. North of you in Skagit, and I don't want you to speak for Bill. Unfortunately, Bill Brook was going to be here, ladies and gentlemen, but he could not be here this evening. He had because I had to move my show from Tuesday to Thursday. He could not be here on Thursday. But maybe you could speak to what some of the other chairmen that you're at least in contact with, do they have the same sort of plans in their counties as well?
Well, Chris, I'll have to tell you, I've been involved in the Republican Party pretty active since 2004. I ran for Congress in 2006. I made the mistake that you told people not to make, is run for something really big first. But I can tell you there's been unprecedented coordination and support between the county chairs. We have a new thing that we call the I-5 corridor, where if you go and people like you that look at election results and see where we lose in Washington State and where the blue areas, it's the I-5 corridor. Mm-hmm. So we're working to switch that, and we're doing a lot of coordination. The PCO Academy, for instance, that we developed, we're going to have a training session to train the trainers, and we're going to have people from all counties around the state come, and we'll train them to do exactly what we've done in this academy, so they can go out and do the same thing. The other thing that we're doing is a lot of coordination in investigating voter fraud. And so the challenges with voter fraud is that you can see all the anomalies out there where it doesn't make sense that this number has turned out this way, but you have to go door to door to prove this. And we need foot soldiers out there to be able to go door to door and validate things and that sort. The other thing we're doing in Snohomish County is we're targeting all 38 school board races. There's 15 school boards in Snohomish County, and we're going to take them all back. And
there you go.
So we've vetted these 38 people. There's 20 of them that we're going to run against because they're liberals. And we looking for good people that we can run for the school board. So now, any people in your audience that thinking about running for a school board, we're going to have a training program for them. We're going to have a past president of a school board and several school board members be part of that training so you can understand really what's involved. And then we're going to have doorbellers that will go out with you, and we're going to raise money for you so that my plan is we'll raise money. I'll go out and have to get fundraiser, people that will write checks, and I'll have them write checks directly to the candidate because these are nonpartisan races, and we don't want, not that we're afraid to be associated with the Republican Party, but the left will vilify a candidate if they find out about that. So we're going to be smart in how we do this.
Sure.
But we think we can take the left by surprise. 80% of the school board races 4 years ago in this county were unopposed. So all of a sudden on the 12th to the 17th, these people are going to be surprised because we're going to have, 28 candidates, actually 20 candidates running against these liberals. And, if you don't want critical race theory and you don't want sex education stuff into your school system, the firewall is the school board. We're going after them, and we're going to take them back this year. That's our plan.
And that's very important. And ladies and gentlemen, from a strategic standpoint, the way that I look at what the chairman is saying is that their efforts there at the school board also help other races on the ballot as well, because now the Democrats are going to have to spend money in those races to defend those seats instead of spending money at the state level and other countywide levels. Typically, school board money doesn't really filter up to the congressional level. Typically, it stays there at the state level. At least that's been my experience. But it still forces the Democrats to have to cover more bases. And when you just let these people run unopposed, you're pretty much setting up the people in other races to fail because all of a sudden there's extra money in the bank now to feed these candidates to defend their seats. And so we want to force them to have to play defense. We want to go on offense. And I love that. And now this is, I've actually spoken to several different party leaders across the state just regarding Mr. Culp and his organization and so forth. And there really is a big push. Not just on the east side, not just, in Snohomish. Mr. Fried is doing some work down there in King as well, which is great to see. I know Dave McMullen down in Pierce County has done a fantastic job and is working very hard. Dave is a great guy. A lot of very good things are going on. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a statewide push. This really is. And we are really trying to push the momentum that we created in 2020. We want to continue to carry that on and not just ride on it, ladies and gentlemen, but to build it. We want 2020 to be the beginning of the wave, and we want that wave to continue in the future.
Well, in the county party office, I can tell you, Chris, we're getting calls every week, and it's from Democrats. And these people are what you call old school Democrats that now they can't stand the socialism coming in. Right. And they're saying, hey, it's not my party anymore. What can I do? I care about my country. And so there's a lot more people out there than you think. And we're getting more people every single day. In fact, the challenge in the office is keeping enough volunteers in there so we can answer enough phone calls and respond to people that really want to do stuff. So it's very exciting. I haven't seen anything like this before. Even the build up to the 2020 election was maybe it was a little bit more busy than it is right now, but not much more. So this is a very unprecedented for this time of year.
And I don't want to put you on the spot here, Chairman, but I love the idea of a training academy for these PCOs. Would you be open to working with me to maybe put together a candidate academy together for candidates to come to, candidates for school board, candidates for state ledge, candidates for these county commission races? Because, and the reason that I make this ask is because it has been my experience in my business that a lot of candidates don't know what to do. Right? They decide that they want to take the plunge. They grab the tiger by the tail, and then there's kind of a now what event that happens after they file their paperwork. And there are some finer details that the folks need to know. So that being said, would you be open to hosting a sort of candidate type training for folks?
Absolutely. In fact, we've developed an 8-hour candidate training program, and we would sure like to get your inputs and have you see what we're doing. So I'm sure that you have a lot to add that we haven't even thought of. But you know, our whole role this year is we're training PCOs in the PCO Academy. Mm-hmm. We had a training program for the legislative district chairs because everybody assumes you're a legislative district chair and you know stuff. We probably ought to have a training program for me, but I'm a lost. But the point is we're getting out there and doing formal training for everybody. And what we do in these training programs is they walk away with a flash drive that they can take back, and most of the material on there, because some of these things, it's a lot to absorb during a 4-hour session or an 8-hour session. So you have those things, but you know, it has their precinct maps in it. It has the bylaws of the county and stuff. You know, so the basic things like that before we've talked about, we've waved our hands around about things, but now we're really getting down to the hard nuts and bolts. And so, yeah, we would love to have you look at what we're doing and, you know, add to it or whatever, because just finding good candidates is only part of the challenge. Then you have to go and get them elected. And if they're going to get elected, they have to have a good message. Yep. They have to go out there and present themselves well. They have to know what to do. You know, in a school board race, you got a doorbell. You're going to have to go doorbell.
Sure do.
So we need, you know, a lot of people haven't doorbelled before. And, you know, I know you've doorbelled, but doorbell is a lot of fun once you do it. The first time, it's really scary. You know, so we want to go out and go, you know, walk with these people and show them how fun it is and get them out there so that they can enjoy it. I ran for the state Senate in 2018. I doorbelled 13,000 houses myself. And so it was fun. I only lost almost one thumb to a small little dog. Watch out for the little dogs.
That's true. My wife has a little dog, Mia. She's got 4 teeth and she's all bark, but she's no bite, you know, so she's a sweet girl. But so I would be willing, Chairman, to come up and do that. No cost to anybody. It wouldn't cost, nobody would have to pay me to do it. I just want to see Republicans win. And I would be willing to come up and share with the folks some of the nuances and finer details, things like the 5 phases of a campaign, what they are, the tools that are involved in a ground attack, the tools that are involved in an air attack, what to use, when to use them. The principle of using the right tool at the right time for the right job, you know, because there's no point to climbing a ladder that's leaning on the wrong wall. So you got to do the right things for the right reasons. And how to raise money. Fundraising is always difficult for candidates. You know, Mr. Culp can tell you that firsthand. I mean, even though we did very well in 2020, it didn't start off very well. It started off, you know, awful slow, right? And so then we built up, and then in October of last year, we raised just under $1 million. So there's ways that you can do that to raise money to make sure that you're funded, ladies and gentlemen. Understanding how much money you actually need to raise. A lot of people either way overestimate what they need or they way underestimate what they need. So, you know, how to determine that, how to determine whether or not the seat that you're running for is even winnable. So, you know, nobody likes to play games that they can't win at. And so we can, you know, teach you guys and show you guys all those, you know, kind of finer details if there's interest. So send a message to the chairman and or let us know here in the chat tonight before I let the chairman off the hook, off the hot seat tonight, what I'd like to do is, if you guys have any questions for the chairman, if you could put those in the chat. I've got this chat. The reason I keep looking, it looks like I'm looking off screen, is because I'm looking at a chat.
Only easy questions.
Only easy questions. So if you guys have some questions for the chairman, okay, so this one here, Linda Tackner. I don't know. Can you see that, Doug, on your screen when I put these things up?
Yeah. Any candidate training for the east side of the state. What we will do is make the training that we have available and invite people. So sometimes you may have to, come over here to get the training if that's when it's offered. If Chris comes up to help us, he may be able to do one in Eastern Washington. If not, we'll invite everybody and make it available to as many people as possible. We're not just about Snohomish County. We're about doing the best we can for our way of life, and we have to get conservatives elected to these positions. Otherwise, this critical race theory and all this other kind of stuff is going to happen. So yeah, we'll do whatever we can.
So Jeanette has a question. This is a good question, and Doug, this is something I know that you get asked a lot, or at least I'm assuming you do, because I know that I get asked it a lot. So Jeanette Marie says, can someone please tell me why anyone is talking about voting after what just happened? How is it that anyone thinks this won't happen again? I'm so confused.
Well, that's a great question, and that's why that we are looking very diligently into voter fraud. For instance, in Snohomish County, we found out that we've got the data that there's about 8,800 names of people that don't match up with the voter registration list and the NCOA, the National Change of Address list. Does it mean that these are fraudulent voters? We don't know. So we're in the process of dividing them up now, and we need teams of people to go out and knock on doors and find out. Knock, knock, knock. Does Doug Rollstone live there? No, we never heard of this guy. Well, gee, Doug Rollstone voted, so we know there's fraud there. But what it might be is that yes, Doug Rollstone does live here, and some reason the data isn't quite as accurate. But that's the challenge of this fraud stuff. There's a lot of groundwork that you have to go out and do. The other thing I've been talking to is I've been talking to Jovan Pulitzer. I think some of you probably know who Jovan Pulitzer is, that invented the QR code, and he said he can do a forensic. He's going to do a forensic recount in Fulton County, Georgia. He got permission to do this. At the end of the month, I volunteered to go out and assist him in that. And then we're going to work on getting him to come out to Washington State, because as I'm sure you would say, Chris, and I know that Lauren would say, that there's probably lots of fraud that's happened in our state. And if we can do a forensic count of the ballots, we're going to find it. So
yeah, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, your local races, those are a little bit different. Those are a little bit more difficult to rig. Your statewide races, your gubernatorial races, your presidential races, that's usually where you see large amounts of fraud. And you see the fraud typically come from certain areas of the state. So just because fraud might exist in, I don't know, say King County, I'm not picking on King County, but I'm just saying, let's just pretend that it's King County. That doesn't mean that Pend Oreille County, or Spokane County or Grant County or Pierce County or, one of these other counties, it doesn't mean that they necessarily have a lot of fraud. They had Dominion voting machines down in Franklin County, and those machines were verified not to have any problems. And in fact, the person that oversees the election in Franklin County is actually conservative. And so, I mean, that was verified to be the case, that they, there wasn't necessarily fraud that went on there on large scales. So just because there is fraud, there's always fraud. Let me tell you this, there's always fraud. And I mean, as far back as our history as a nation, there has been fraud. The fraud is baked in typically. And so as a consultant, I look at all of these numbers, and I know that there's a certain amount of fraud that is baked in. And as a consultant, I need to account for that. Now, we had never seen the amounts of fraud and the different types of fraud that we saw in 2020. We hadn't really seen that. It was kind of unprecedented.
Way unprecedented.
Yeah, and it really shows the desperation that the left had, that they were willing to do anything at all costs, throw the kitchen sink at it to make sure that that Mr. Trump didn't get reelected. But and some of that did filter down, and it's my contention. I've got 1,000 pages of evidence on this. It's my contention that it did affect our race in the gubernatorial. So anyway, do vote, do be involved. Don't just stop being involved.
I see there's a question here about the Culp visit. Lauren Culp's going to speak to our Central Committee meeting. That's the 24th of April at 9 o'clock. Well, doors open at 8:30, and it's Roosters in Woodinville. And I don't have the address in front of me, but I'll text it in to Chris, and maybe you can post it and people can find out about it. But the guests are welcome, so the public is welcome, particularly if you're a Trump or a Culp supporter. And Lauren will speak, and then I'm going to lock the doors and make everybody that's left sign up to become PCOs. That's the way I'm going to work with it.
What is the date of that, Chairman?
That's Saturday, the 24th of April at 9 a.m. in Woodinville at Roosters.
So let's see. What we're going to do is we're going to put this up here. I've got all kinds of tricks.
Okay, good.
There we go. Roosters in Woodinville, April 24th at 9 a.m. Is that right?
Good. Yeah, we got a guy that has a winery, bakery, and whatnot, and he's got seats for 700, and he hates Ensley, so don't tell any liberals about it because we don't want them looking at the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to get as many people as we can there. We're also going to have Sheriff Adam Fortney speak, and
he's a great guy.
Yeah, very excited. I've got this other guy, Pablo Noriega, and he's not that Noriega, but he was born in Venezuela, and he's a green card holder now. He's in the National Guard, and he'll be eligible to become a U.S. citizen in June. He's going to speak about socialism. He's seen it up front in Venezuela, and I think that's going to be exciting. Plus, we'll have our candidates for the county council, Sam Blow, Nate Nearing, and in the 4th council district, Brenda Carrington is running. We take those 3 seats. We take control of the council. So this is the first step in turning the county red. Very important.
Yes, very, very important. My wife, it's interesting. My wife is from Bolivia. In fact, I want to thank my wife, who hopefully is watching. If not, she'll probably watch the replay. But thank you, wife, beautiful wife, for taking my show on Tuesday while I was traveling. She does a fantastic job. She's from Bolivia. She had to flee her country because of her stand against socialism and against the dictatorship there of Evo Morales. And she knows firsthand what socialism is like. And she has literally fought the good fight, and like physically fought, not just with words, but with action. And she doesn't want to see what has gone on in South America happen here in the States. And so my wife is forming an organization called the Global Human Rights League, and she will be in Washington, D.C., speaking with national leaders and getting involved in what is going on internationally in the fight against socialism in South America and the dictatorships down there. So it is very important work that we have to undertake to make sure that what happened in Venezuela and in Cuba and in Argentina and in a lot of places, Ecuador, doesn't happen here in the United States. Let's see here. So here's a question. I'm gonna. Can you do this live for people that can't be there, please? So maybe it could be recorded and we could put it someplace that people could view it later. At least the not the party business part, but maybe for Lauren's speeches and so forth.
Yeah, we could. I hadn't thought of that. Jamie. Thank you for bringing that up. So we'll see if we can't get somebody to do a video thing of all the speeches, because I think they'll be very good, and we can post them hopefully on our website. I'm not the IT. Look at my age. I'm not the ID expert, but we have people that know how to do that stuff. And I think that's a great idea. And that's exactly why we do meetings like this and presentations, because you always have good people write in and call in and give you ideas that you never would have thought of before. And so I really thank you for that, Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few people that are asking to be hooked up with her movement. What I would suggest that you do is find my wife on Facebook. It's Eva, EVA, Sarah, SARA, Landau, LANDAU. Eva Sarah Landau is my wife's name. If you'll just find her on Facebook, you're going to find all kinds of stuff that she's involved in, and you'll be able to connect with her there. And she'll be able to give you any information that you guys would want to get involved with the work that she's doing. Let's see here. Let's see here. So this is off topic. This isn't a question. This isn't a question from the crowd. This is a question from me to you. Did you see the president's remarks today regarding the gun, the Second Amendment and gun bans?
No, I didn't see that. I had a couple speaking engagements and was out of the office a lot and spent the time putting together our call letter that has to go out 15 days before this meeting for the 24th. No, how did that go?
It was interesting. I mean, he apparently doesn't think that the Constitution is absolute. He thinks that it's flexible, and they're going to be trying to institute different bans, an assault weapons ban, and all these different things. I would encourage you, Chairman, to take a gander at it. There's a lot of traffic about it, a lot of people talking. It's very interesting, and
I support the Second Amendment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. If I could travel with my weapon, I would. But getting that through TSA is just a nightmare. So, well, listen, Chairman, we've been on about 40 minutes. I do appreciate your time and coming on, answering the some questions from the folks at home. And whatever I can do, Chairman, just reach out to me. I'm always available to you, and I really do appreciate what you're doing for conservatives and the conservative movement, not only in Washington but across the country. So thank you very much.
Well, Chris, a great honor to be on the show with you, and certainly anything to be associated with you and Lauren is an honor for me. And just to the people that are watching out there, don't assume just because the governor's race is gone and you had a great candidate to support and you were at these rallies and everything that it's too late. There's a lot of things to be done. This year, all the races in Snohomish County, with the exception of these 3 council races, are nonpartisan. So we have a chance to sneak up on people. Usually they're low turnout races, as Chris knows. Mm-hmm. If we turn out our people, we win. In Snohomish School District, for instance, I just did the math, and there's the one liberal we're going to run against, and she got 9,000 votes last time unopposed. Yeah. Well, I went through, and there's 6,700 people that took Republican presidential primary ballots in that district in 2020. So we turn them out and have a candidate against them. She loses. And so
that's right.
We know we've got the people out there in a lot of places. We just have to get people involved. And, you can send me an email at just chair@snowcogop.org. And, if you want to get involved, just shoot me a message, give me your phone number, email, we'll get back to you. We'd love to get you involved. And if you want to get involved and you don't know how to get involved in your county and you're in a different county, even if you send it to me, I'll forward it to what other county so you can get involved. It's really important that we, the people, get out there and do something, that we just don't sit around and yell at Fox News on TV or yell at, something on the radio. The time for yelling is over, the time for doing. And, that's what the socialists did about 15 years ago. They realized they couldn't win any races running as socialists. So they have an integrated program to take over the Democratic Party. Yes. And guess what? They're ahead of us, but it's not a losing effort. We can catch up.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So it's chair@snocogop.org. I've got it up on the screen. Chairman, thank you very much for your time tonight. We do appreciate you.
I'll come back anytime you want, Chris.
Yes, sir. Have a great evening.
Okay, you too.
Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Chairman Doug Ralstone, who's a fantastic human being. He's a very modest man. Probably wouldn't want me to tell you that he used to be the commander of an aircraft carrier in the United States Navy. He really is high speed, low drag. He's very squared away. He's a fantastic human being. And he is one of the highest caliber people that I've been around in Washington politics. And he is definitely someone that you should connect with. And that you should reach out to if you're looking to get involved. Whether you're on the east side or the west side, he's going to be able to point you in the right direction. So we've got rallies coming up. Rally season is upon us. April 23rd, we're going to be out in Tri-Cities. There's a chance that we may have to reschedule the 24th and 25th. We're still looking at that, but definitely the 23rd. Mr. Culp is going to be there. He's going to be the headlining speaker, and he's got a huge announcement that he's going to make at that rally, something that you're definitely going to want to hear. And so we want all of you to come out. We need, as many people as we had last time. I think we had 700, 800 people at that rally. We'd love to have 1,000 people at that rally. It's going to be held at the Clover Island Inn. It's going to be outside in the parking lot, so you can come party with us, have a great time, listen to great music. Nashville recording artist Dakota Portman is going to be there with his new album, playing all new music for you guys, putting on one heck of a show. It's going to be really fantastic. You guys are definitely going to want to be there, and it's all free. That's the big thing. It's free to come and have a great time, and then you guys can just filter into the hotel and just crash right there if you guys want to come from out of town. But that is April 23rd in Tri-Cities. Clover Island is where the event is going to be. This coming week, we're going to be putting out a bunch of information, and there's some good things. I've been very busy, as have several people, in fielding great candidates this coming cycle. You're going to have there's a big wave. There's a big movement. You guys are going to be very happy, very pleased with what's coming up. We want all of you guys involved. We want you guys to come out to that rally. It's going to be really good stuff. So we're excited for it. So here we are. We're about 45 minutes in. We do appreciate all of you for joining us tonight on Pushback. Once again, I want to thank my beautiful wife, Eva Sarah, for handling the show for me on Tuesday. She always does a great job. I don't even know why I do this show. I think I should just let her do the show. She's better at it than I am. But anyway, we do love you guys, and we are here to help you guys. Reach out to us if you have any questions about how to run, how to handle things. Reach out to Chairman Ralstone at chair@snoco.gop. I will be back with you this coming Tuesday. And in the meantime, stay strong and continue to push back. We love you guys. Good night.